out of the mouths of babes. That's all I can say. My son, who is very in tune with me and his father's emotion. In fact, really with everyone. He's just intuitive. My baby. He asked me yesterday, he said, "Mom, why are you walking around mad? How come you look angry?" Now, he's asked me this 2 or 3 days in a row. And the first day, he understood. The second day, he was a little like, but he understood. By the third day, he was concerned because he says, "Mom, if you stay mad, can't you get sick?" And I was like, "Baby, no. He said, but Mom, but that's not what you teach us." So then he goes on to say, "But isn't it bad energy?" My 9-year-old. "Yeah, son, it is. It is bad energy. And you see, when you're angry and you're consumed in your emotion, can you really find a solution in that state? Can you really give your best in that state? Can you make a positive contribution to change in that state?" Now, I'm not talking about the kind of anger that propels you forward into action. I'm talking about the anger that paralyzes your emotion and stagnates your action. What my son was trying to remind me of, and what he did remind me of, is that energy flows where focus goes. Am I angry that we still have to deal with these kind of situations? Yes. Am I disappointed? Yes. Am I hurt? Yes. Am I resentful? Yeah, I'm a little resentful. However, those negative emotions don't have to mean that my actions are counterproductive to forward progress. Those emotions can be the fuel that lights my fire as an agent for change. And it doesn't mean that I have to be angry and argue and reprimand and judge and squint my eyes and do all these things towards people. Those emotions are justified. But I have a choice in how I respond to those emotions. Because you see, if all I do is focus on the negativity, if all I do is listen and focus on the anger, the raw anger, not the constructive anger, the raw anger of my peers, of my community, it kills something on the inside of me. Not just physiologically, not just my immune system, not just, it doesn't just trigger other emotions, but it kills my ability to move forward and to truly move as an agent for change. As I sit here and think about what's going on, boxing, because boxing is a huge part of our life, our family. I think about boxing. And one of the things that my husband teaches, and he is a stickler for, is not only being a defensive fighter, so knowing how to slip and move and roll and duck and move your feet and angle, spin your opponent, back him up in a corner, cut the ring off. But he's a stickler for keeping your hands up, keeping them by your face, so that way people can't penetrate that guard, keeping your elbows down to protect your ribs, so you don't have to worry about taking a full-on raw body shot. He talks about breathing. He talks about being relaxed in the ring. Because see, when you're tense and when you're full of anger, When you're tense and you're full of anger, you're not breathing. And when you're not breathing, you're not getting that oxygen to your muscles so they can endure your rounds. And so they can continue to punch with power and with speed. When you're tense and when you can't breathe, you cut off oxygen to your brain. So how do you strategize in the ring? How do you stay aware of the patterns of your opponent so you can capitalize on them? How are you able to see what's around you? And furthermore, how are you able to go back into that corner and listen to the instruction of your coach? It's impossible. You can't do it. And so you go out there and you swing and you're aimless and you don't have your strategy. You've abandoned your game plan. And the likelihood of you winning that round or that match is probably slim to none, unless your opponent is just garbage and they're just an easy opponent, right? Well, the opponents in our life, this pandemic, the injustices, and the senseless murders of Black men, women, and children. And not just Black men, women, and children, but for people of color. Those are our opponents. But we're not listening to our coach. We're holding our breath and we're swinging our fists. And some of us are doing it aimlessly, without strategy, without a game plan. And so now you're punching your cup man, you're punching your water guy, you're punching the coach, you're punching your assistant coach. You're knocking out people that are strategically placed in your life. And then because some of us are not winning the way that we think we should, we're shitting on our fans, the people that got our backs, the people that put their money where their mouth is and support us. The people that see the struggle and want to contribute and want to be an agent of change for their community, to show their children how to become respectable, compassionate, understanding, tolerant of other cultures and communities and religions, kids. We're defeating ourselves. The government don't have to do much. You see, going to war and fighting, yes, it's mechanical, 20%, but it is psychological, 80%. Women, our role in this is just as important as the protesting. It's just as important as speaking up, being a part of certain communities, to be agents for change. But beyond that, we have been blessed with the divine ability to carry life, to birth life. We have the ability to go through excruciating pain, see what was birthed, and forget all about the pain we just endured to birth it. We have the ability to plant a seed of love in our Black men and our Black children. I know we are all hurting. I know we are. But I want you to think about the last time you hugged your children, or you sat down and you did something with your children, or you hugged your spouse, your partner, your husband, in the last 72 hours. When's the last time you set some time aside for yourself just to connect spiritually? To try to hear some direction? Value and respect for life begins at home. It begins with our children, within our relationships. We cannot fight this fight holding our breath, refusing to strategize, refusing to have a game plan. Even with a game plan, a phenomenal coach, a great team, and the best fan base, you may lose some rounds. You may lose a fight. But there's a lesson in the loss. There's a lesson in the experience. And if you're really about being a champion of your life, being a champion for Black Lives Matter, being a champion for your community, you don't fall out. That lesson gives you the ability to step up and to learn and to get stronger. One of the reasons why I love Muhammad Ali and why many of you love Muhammad Ali is because he used his platform to ignite change, to stand for what he believed in. But you know what I love best about Muhammad Ali? Muhammad Ali had the psychological part down. Muhammad Ali knew how to talk to himself. Muhammad Ali knew how to share his energy with the masses. So if you just say his words, I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, when you say that, there's an energy behind that you feel and that you believe, right? He had that psychological part down. And I think we need to remember that what we believe we deserve, what we believe we deserve is what we're going to experience. I know. Some of you guys are like, whatever, Lanisha. No. And you know when you realize that, when you live life a little bit, when you've gone through some things and you see how certain courses of action don't get you anywhere, and you end up adjusting, making those small pivotal, just pivoting just a little bit, that 1% adjustment, and then your experience is completely different. The more we say what we don't want, the more energy we put out there to receive it. We need to talk about what we want. We need to rehearse those words about what we believe that we deserve. We need to teach our children. If we are not teaching our children how to tap into their psychological power, into the things that they cannot see, if we don't teach our children how to connect, we're failing. We're failing our future. Our children and us, we need to be reminded of how powerful we are. We need to be reminded of how creative we are. We need to look, and at some point, yes, we acknowledge the injustices. But do you know what those injustices ignited in our community? Do you know the inventors that were birthed out of injustice? The educators? Do you know the kind of leaders that were birthed out of this pain? We are a phenomenal people. We take the worst of the worst and we make a beautiful garden. We take the scraps and make a buffet that everybody wants to come and eat from. We take our pain and translate it into the most beautiful pieces of art through sport, through music, through poems, through books. We are not a hopeless people. We are amazing. We are strong. We are powerful. We are chosen. nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop your progress. Nothing can get in the way of you achieving what it is that you want to achieve. Will it be more challenging? It may be. Will you get the same hand dealt that the other persons get? You might not. But do you know how strong and resilient you are? Do you know what you have the power to do? Not by thievery, not by stealing, not by hurting innocent people, not by that, but just by knowing who you are. And that's where we need to start. We need to know who we are. And we're everything. When you know who you are, you don't allow outsiders to dictate and tell you who you are. You stand up in that and you move in that. And the more you move in who you are, the more you attract the people that complement your path. The more you know who you are, the more you can impact in a positive way your community, the more change you can be a part of. Do you honestly think anybody's going to give that to you free of charge? You knowing who you are is going to cost you something. Do you think that if they didn't know what we're capable of, they would fight this hard against us? We need to learn how to fight. We need to learn how to fight. Physically and metaphorically, we need to know how to fight. We need to teach our kids how to fight physically and metaphorically. We need to know how to fight. We need to remember who we are. We need to remember that our young men and young women need us. We need to remember the power of a hug, of saying, I love you, of supporting and valuing your community, your neighbors, your people. And like we know, it all starts at home, y'all. I can't go out and change the world if I can't go in my home and have a good impact on my home. I can't go out and value another life, especially as a Black woman. I can't value a Black life if I don't value the Black lives in my home. I can't value or say I love my community and my people if when I look in the mirror, I don't love and value myself. Because we can't give people more than we can give ourselves. So everything that you do starts with you. I know this message is not for everybody, and some people are going to accept it and some people are not. But I pray and I hope that for those of you that accept what I am sharing as part of my experience in what's going on now, that it reminds you of something that you already know, that it waters a seed that's already been planted. When we're young, we're ready. We're ready to turn on. Even right now, shoot, at 40 years old, damn near 40, I can turn it on and turn it off. I can go from 0 to 1,000 real quick. But the more peace that I experience, the more I value that state. And not peace to be ignoring what's happening, but the peace to be able to move forward in progress, to be an agent of change, and to actually have an impact. I don't want to die angry. I don't want to die angry. I want to die full of love and life. But I also want to die knowing that Everything God gave me, I used up. Every way that I could impact somebody or my community, I did it. I don't want to spend any more days being all the way angry to where I'm paralyzed and where I just want to go home or I just want to stay in the house. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to teach. I don't want to this. I don't want to that. I don't want to do that. I'm over that now. I've had my 72 hours. It's time for me to get up, and it's time for me to move forward and see how I can contribute in a positive way and in a way that feels good to me. So I encourage you, for those of you that are feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling drained and you're just not feeling good, take some time for you today. Step back, recenter. Tap into that love that you know that you have down on the inside of your heart and let it move you. And please don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I'm not saying to lay down and let somebody take your life. I'm not saying to turn the other cheek. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying take a moment to debrief and reconnect so you can be clear in your strategy, so you can be clear when you step into that ring and that bell goes off and it's time to start fighting. So you can be clear as to what you're doing. Take a moment and remember, whatever you focus on, that is what's going to manifest. And so if you want to start manifesting some change, if you want to start manifesting some solution, then focus on that.